And it's going to be very interesting tonight as Indiana coming off of their first loss of the season. A little bit of a surprise. I guess nothing should be a surprise, but you go to Rutgers. That was not one I thought that they were going to lose, but also they did not have Jalen Hood-Schifino, and it definitely made a huge difference for this team. Put the ball in Xavier Johnson's hand a lot more, and trying to score without having Jalen Hood to play off of. Trace Jackson-Davis limited to 13 points. Race Thompson shut out with 0 points. So all this talk we hear of Indiana's dominant front court. Jordan Geronimo, 2 points on 0 of 5 shooting, and it was shut down by Rutgers.
Yeah.
Shut down. So, how dominant can they really be?
Well, this is what we talked about, and this is why you have to be a decent 3-point shooting team. And what were they 25%, 24% against Rutgers the other day? Because
24%, yeah.
Okay. So this is why you have to have outside shooting, because teams are going to figure out the interior. You're going to play teams especially in the Big Ten, are going to bump you around. They're going to be physical in the paint. And if you can't knock down an outside shot to stretch that defense, it's going to be a problem. So Rutgers was able to take away the interior, and then Indiana shot 25 3-pointers and only made 6 of them. I mean, you got to get that number up to 9 or 10. And we're talking, they lost by 15. But if you hit 3 more 3-point shots in that game, it's all of a sudden it's just a couple possessions and maybe things go a little bit differently. So that's why you have to be more versatile. And this was still some of the concerns. Now, early in the season, first 7 games, we've seen Indiana shot the ball a lot better than they did last season. They didn't have Jalen Hood-Schifino, so maybe obviously that takes something away. I think you can say there are still some concerns, because you did get 21 points from Miller Kopp. You did get some contributions from other guys who, when other guys weren't stepping up, Miller Kopp did. So it just has to be more consistent. And once again, Xavier Johnson pressing a little bit, 2 of 11. It's really the first time in the regular season we've seen him do that. Was able to do some good things, but this team has to be more consistent from behind the 3-point line. Maybe they are, and this is just a one-off, but that's why it was such a heavy talked about topic of conversation early in the season was 3-point shooting because of games like this.
Mike says he knows Race has been putting up some decent numbers, but something has seemed off about him all year. Not sure what. I can't disagree with that. He hasn't had dominant performances, but it's a different team. Maybe seems like he's laying back a little bit more than he did last year. Maybe that's just appearances. I don't know. Also yesterday, Purdue, big win over Minnesota at home, 89-70. Michigan goes to Kentucky, and that's a close one. They lose 73-69. It would have been nice to see Michigan get that win, huh?
Yep. And that was one of the that was the London game. That was a good game though. That was a good game.
Arizona, a future Indiana opponent, beats California 81-68. And that Nebraska game we talked about, they beat number 7 Creighton by 10.
Yep.
63-53. Outscore them in the second half by 8. Outscore them in the first half. So that was Nebraska's game.
That was. Here's the crazy thing too. Have you looked at the stat line for this game?
I have not yet.
Okay. Nebraska, 3 of 12 from 3-point. 4 of 7 from the free throw line. And they won that game over the number 7 team in the country by 10 points.
What was their field goal percentage shooting? They must have been lighting it up.
47. So solid, but not.
That's an ugly game.
So, yeah, you can win with 47%, but you usually are shooting a lot of free throws and maybe hitting a few more than just 3 3-pointers. And they had 13 turnovers. So it wasn't, I guess it was an ugly game. Like I said, I just saw some of the highlights. I didn't watch the actual game. But when I looked at that stat line, That's impressive to find a way to win with 3 3-pointers and only shoot 7 free throws. That's gutting it out, man.
Yep. You mentioned Northwestern going up to Michigan State, winning 70-63. That Northwestern team is 6-2 in the year right now, and 1-0 in the Big Ten. So they've got a better Big Ten record than Indiana does. So there's that.
Didn't that happen last year too?
I don't. Well,
I feel like Northwestern beat somebody. It might have been Michigan State. They beat somebody good, and we thought, hey, Northwestern might be pretty solid, and then just fell off a cliff.
Well, let's see. I'm going to hit some of these comments, make sure I don't miss any of these. Nick thinks TJD shouldn't be playing with his back. Well, I don't know what his back is like. I mean, I don't know if it's how badly it's bothering him or not. I mean, I'm not going to make excuses for that loss because there are none. They played against better talent, better teams, and they just didn't get they just got out hustled. They got beat. I mean, my God, they did not hit shots. And hey, Rutgers scored in the paint. Where is I need to pull up my stats. Because Rutgers scored in the paint, and I'm pretty sure they outscored Indiana in the paint easily.
I'm sure they did. I mean, because I don't think they didn't hit a ton of. They hit the same amount of threes. They were 6 of 21 from behind the 3-point line. So, and they were 20. They only shot 36. You talk about an ugly game. They only
24 to 14 points in the paint. Indiana had 14 points in the paint versus North Carolina 50-0.
Yeah.
So you're telling me that against North Carolina and Armando Bacot and that group that this team can put 50 points on the board, but against this Rutgers team, they can't. They can't even get to 20.
I think Cliff Amore is I always want to sing the song when I say his name. I think he's a much better defender than he's given credit.
Maybe so, but Indiana's got to. It doesn't matter. Indiana's going to have to find a way to get through. I mean, wow. I'm not going to, people shouldn't jump off the boat.
No.
Maybe there was something going on. I don't know. Again, there's always things that we don't know. So, yeah, race didn't seem entrenched in that game.
Well, I mean, I don't like to take one game. I know somebody has said he hasn't looked like himself throughout the course of the season, but I also don't like to take one game sample size. I mean, Indiana is still a good team. They're still going to be one of the top teams in the Big Ten. Don't hit the panic button because of one loss. This stuff happens. And so, but to me, it's how they respond. They've still got some major tests coming up. You have a home game against a Nebraska team that's going to come into Bloomington very confident after they just beat Creighton. Then you go out to Vegas and you play Arizona. Then you go to Fog Allen Fieldhouse. You can still, if they win, if they beat Arizona and or Kansas, we're talking about a whole different conversation we're having right now. So let's not hit the panic button. I'm not going to throw race under the bus. Sometimes you just don't play well.
Yeah, well, rebounding, like Tater Algie's pointing out, they just got out hustled. I mean, like I said, they got out rebounded unbelievably. It was horrible. 47-33.
And
they gave up 17 offensive rebounds.
Yeah,
17.
And this is the first time that Indiana's had to play tough teams in back-to-back games. So that has something to do with it as well.
They gave up a point for each offensive rebound they allowed as well.
Oof.
So there's that. Yeah. That's pretty much the story of the game right there. They got out-rebounded, and it just got beat up in the paint. Indiana got beat up in the paint. Trace Jackson-Davis, Race Thompson, and Jordan Geronimo got their butt kicked in the paint. That's all you can say. It was the truth. It's what happened. We saw it. The numbers bear it out. Now, how do they respond? Are they embarrassed, or are they upset, or do they want to show they're better than that? that's up to them, and they'll get the chance playing a Nebraska team that's coming off of a great win Wednesday before you head out to play an even tougher game yet. So, man, that's at the end of the week. Gosh, that's going to be here fast. We'll be coming to you from Las Vegas on Friday, as a matter of fact. Holy smokes.
You going to catch a Wayne Newton show?
I don't think so, man. It's going to be just try to get some sleep, get up, and do it.
There you go.